Welcome back to the channel, everyone. P Street Garage here. Want to do some more metal work on my 69 bay window today. The last time I filmed, I had fixed or installed the new inner rocker on the driver's side, along with the jacking points. What I want to do today is start work on this dog leg. I've already got the other side done. I did that about a month and a half ago. And let's see how this side goes. So here's this new dog leg. I just clamped it in place just to sort of give myself an idea. And I want to sort of measure twice and cut once here because I mentioned before in my previous videos, I really paid up when I ordered these front dog legs. These are the dog legs, the complete with all the inner structure and everything. They're a small fortune. I think I mentioned it before. They were like, what was it, $11 or $1,200 for the pair. So not cheap, but they're very nice and they fit fairly well. So now, looking at this here, I just had the tape measure out here to give myself an idea. So this is about this is 1.5 inches, and this is the same as this, which means that this entire lip here and this hump is this hump, and that's designed to sort of slide in here. It's almost like I don't know how many layers of metal are in here. I think it's almost like a pocket. But what I did on the other side to make my life easier, and instead of trying to drill out all these spot welds, I just cut this along. I gotta make sure. I think I cut it along here. I cut it along here. And then once this is all out of the way, then I can reassess from underneath. And I think what I did on the other side is I just cut it and I left the 2 layers of metal. And then I tuck this one underneath. I don't think it's factory 100% correct. I'm pretty sure that's how I did it on the other side, and it lined up really well. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. If I get underneath and the metal is quite wasted, I might just be able to peel it from the other side. But I think I'm just going to give her and start chopping this off. Okay, so there's the better part of that dog leg off. Now this one here, it was more wasted in some areas as compared to the other side, but other areas on the other side that were shot were much better over here. Now I think this is where you can see there's multiple layers here, and I'm pretty positive that the dog leg is meant to slide in here. It's meant to slide in up to this mark here. And that's why there's spot welds back here. But on the other side, the metal was so wasted that I was able to peel an entire layer off. Now, I'm not sure where this is coming from, if this was added later. Anyway, I don't want this to be too thick, but I'm going to install this one as I did on the other side. And that's, I think, for now anyway, is underneath. So I still need to grind because there's a lot of loose flaky stuff here. There's a lot of undercoating, and I really got my work cut out here peeling all this off and revealing what's there. So by the time you grind and you whittle away, this could end up rather thin, which is why I ended up just putting the dog leg underneath on the other side and then drilling holes on top and plugging it as I went. And that worked out just fine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm not going to bore you too much anymore. I'm just going to do a little bit more whittling away off camera. I got to get in here. I got to whittle all this out. I got to look at the new dog leg again. I don't think I need any of this, and this is rather homemade, so I think I can cut this off flush. So I think I better look. Yeah, the lip goes over. So I presume it's meant to go over this. Actually, I shouldn't presume anything. It's probably meant to go here and then the floor pan on top. But I'm not doing an entire floor pan. I will just patch as required, like I did on the other side. For now, let me whittle, let me clean. And you can see, like, for example, over here, the B-post. I was slicing through here. I always try to preserve a bit more than I have to. But you can see that this here will slide in, and the nice lip here. Then there's a nice lip on the dog leg, so that should join together and have a nice factory gap. All right, let me get to cleaning in here, and I'll bring you back in if I see anything interesting. Okay, well, I've got the dog leg tentatively in place. And I've done a lot of whittling and grinding. And although I just mentioned that I did the other dog leg a very short while ago, this one is giving me a real hard time. The other one practically fell into place. This one here, not so much. But I've got it tentatively lined up. And I'm just on the inside here working. And I've cleaned up all the old metal and all the patch panels from the previous owners and previous repairs over the years. And I'm seeing now that where the inner structure of the dog leg is landing, there's literally no metal there. And so before I put this in, I'm going to have to make this closeout panel. And I'm going to use the template that I got from my buddy Don from his channel at VW Adventures. He made this pattern for me, sent it in the mail. So I did make one of these for the other side. I installed it slightly different. It's actually meant, because on the other side, the metal was not as wasted. So I was able to install the dog leg the way it is. There was enough metal there for me to attach that dog leg. And then I did my closeout panel like this, and I cut it short. But I believe it's designed to go right behind. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to trace this out. I'm going to make a closeout panel. I'm going to pop that into position, and then I will try the dog leg on for size again. It's not horrible. Like I said, it's landing. It still has a ways to go here. I've got 4 big clamps. That's all I have. I could use 4 or 5 more clamps, but you can see there's still a big gap there. So I'm probably going to end up using the self-tapping screws to suck everything in. And then, once that's in place, I should be able to figure something right here with the B-pillar. Something like that. All right. let's make this. Okay, so here's my closeout panel all made. Thank you, Don. Perfect pattern. Could even be passed on to someone else. And of course, that's just going to go in here like this. So I'm just going to put a couple of stitches in there to hold that in place. And that should be fine. And that'll be metal at the top for the back side or the inner side of the dog leg to attach to. All right, let's get this put in. Okay, the closeout panel is all stitched in, looking good. Before I throw this dog leg back in, let's address this little Swiss cheese area. Just gonna do the corner here, try to replace this metal deleted area, and then we'll throw our leg back on. See what we get. Okay, I got this little corner fixed up with some new metal. That's all going to be hidden, but it's best to have fresh metal underneath rather than stuff that's all holy. Let's try this leg back on. See how she fits in between here with that new metal and that closeout panel. And why is it that after an hour's worth of work, my area looks like this? Dang. All right, I'm going to clean up a little bit first, then get the dog leg on. Alrighty, well, I've been working off camera for about 2 hours. I've probably had this dog leg arrangement on 25 times at least. And I'm running into a snag, and I'm not 100% sure why. When I did the other side, again, as mentioned last month, it kind of fell into place, and it was my first time. Maybe it was beginner's luck. I don't know. This one here, dang, it's really kicking my rear. And I think it's got to do with, this was a little bit off level, and I had to find a happy medium anyway. So what's happening is I've got everything ground, I've got everything cleaned, rebuilt as what I want to do. It's fitting in here pretty good. I'm just going to push the floor pan down here like this. Got a couple of bad areas here that we'll patch. There's patches in the floor that we're going to address as we go this way. But right now, the problem I'm having is when I push this in place, and I've had it in place. I'll try to do this one-handed here. Now, I've even gone and I've modified my closeout panel to keep part of the metal on the inside, the upper part on the outside. The issue I'm having, and it's a good thing I caught it because it could, you could easily miss that. When I butt my section up here, it's pretty self-aligning. And then it comes down and it tapers down and it meets up with that inner rocker. But what's happening here is if I'm flush here, as I go down, and it's a little bit harder to judge because I've got a lot of metal missing, but if I go down, you can see here that, well, this is a huge problem. Dang, and like I said, my very first one, I thought the second one was going to be a breeze. This one here, I installed this one with the B-post, and it's pretty good. Pretty good. I mean, there's no rocking back and forth. I mean, it's acceptable. And even I did have the door on with the skin, and that kind of lined up not bad. Now I know these things aren't like a modern day car as far as panel gap and stuff, and I'll use that as an excuse. Don't get me wrong. I'll use that as an excuse. But over here, I've got a situation here. I mean, I can't. Of course, I can push this in and up. So what I've been doing is I've been cheating. So in order for, sorry, that light's probably blinding. In order for me to get this in, I've been whittling at the bottom of the fender. So I've just taken little slices off at a time so that I could push it in and up to make it sort of flush. And although there's not a lot of metal left here, this is a remainder of the B-post. So I still got a huge gap there. Gosh, how am I going to fix that? That's way too big, way too much. And even if I was to cheat a little bit and overlap this one, because I could overlap this one and then, do a little Bondo filling on top. Yeah, that's an awful lot of fudging here. So I think what I'm going to keep doing is I'm going to keep whittling away at this bottom a little bit. And every time I do that, I grind away a little bit on the inside I take away a little bit of my closeout panel. So I don't want that interfering. I don't know if you can see that. But you see how this sticks out like that. I don't know how to get that back in there. Without, I don't want to take like an inch off the bottom here. Geez, I've taken little micro slices, but I don't want to, you'd probably never know the difference in the end. But I'm going to try to go just a little at a time. And at the same time, this can come up a little bit. So this could be squeezed. I'll probably have to use the self-tapping screws to bring this in. So in and up and in on the base. I mean, there is some movement there. So maybe if I take a little bit more off here, a little bit more on the inside, a little at a time, I could eventually get this to push in. Because, let's see, even if I hold it in this fashion, yeah, no, we're talking, my gosh, no, can't have that. Gotta keep working at it. All right, I've been at it some more, and I trimmed the bottom again. I don't want to really trim too much more. I think I'm just about there now. I think I can live with this. All right. Said everything is cleaned up. So I'm gonna, so right now let's throw a few tacks in there. Tack, tack, tack. Take the clamps off, then I know it can't fall off. And then I'm gonna start doing this. I'm going to drill some holes with the spot weld cutter. And I'm gonna clamp, or I might even use the self-tapping screws to keep everything tight, because you see there's quite the gap there, and there's a lot of movement, but I can get that squeezed in pretty good, I think. Okay, let's do that now and see where we end up. All right, I've got my piece tacked in on down here. So this bottom corner can't move. I've also put a couple tacks on the inside. So that front corner is fused. This frontal area is still held up with the vice grips. So what I've started now is and by the way, I've got this alignment. That's as good as I can make it. So that's what we're gonna have. It's not going to be perfect, but I can't push that in anymore, and we'll cross this bridge when we get to it. Now, I'm pinching this off and I'm drilling. I'm going to put the self-tapping screws, and once this is all in place nice and tight, then I'm going to come back with the spot weld cutter, drill some holes, and then fill those plugs. That's my plan right now. I've also discovered this little area here, my seat belt mounting area. So I'm gonna have to make a plate with that reinforcement bolt underneath. I would hate for my beautiful face to go through this windshield one day. Actually, right now, I kind of wish my face went through the windshield. I think I'd feel better. But anyway, yeah, I don't know what it is with this dog leg. With this driver's side, I don't know. It is not falling into place. But anyway, I'm going with this. So drill, 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 drill. Screw this all in, and then we'll plug weld. All right. I think what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna come in between these screws. Now these screws, I've got this sucked down pretty good. And I think I'm gonna come in between each screw and I'm gonna punch a hole and I'm gonna drill out the spot weld. And I'll take my spot weld cutter. Yeah. And then I'll put a plug in between each one. And if I need any additional ones, I can just drill out where the screw holes are, and I can also add some more that way. The trick here, if I've learned anything from welding, and I still struggle with the welding at times, well, most of the time, the metal's got to be clean, and when you're putting two surfaces together, there can be no gaps. So I may even have to put the clamps back on here when I do the welding. So let's try that. So I got my holes drilled with my spot weld cutters. So now I'm going to break out the welder and try to weld inside here, try to fill in this little hole. I got to use enough heat to fuse everything but not burn right through. Done that before. And those are the spot weld cutters, Amazon special, and they're absolutely fantastic. They were not expensive. I got a double pack, and literally these bits last a very long time. In fact, when I took out the entire floor, of this vehicle, and there's, gosh, I can't remember how many holes there are, but there's a lot of drilling, and I don't even know if I went through a couple of those, maybe 2 or 3. So they're good. They're good. All right, let's break out the welder. I do have a clamp thrown back on here just to make this as tight as I can. Let's see what happens. All right. I've got 6 plugs. I've got them ground. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop out the screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 screws. So 6 and 7, that should be more than enough welding to hold this together. I'm going to pop out the screws. I'm going to drill each one of them out with the cutters. I'm going to clamp if the metal springs a bit too much. And I'm going to plug again and then regrind again. That should be good for this section. Then we can move on to attempting to weld this. And then we'll make up a little piece to fix that. Couple tacks up here, I think. Well, we could always do a little bit underneath from that under front lip. But for the most part, that will be the dog leg in place. All right, let's try that. So I got all these plug welds done and ground. And not too bad. I mean, I muckled onto this and I can't pull it off, so that's a good sign. I also came back inside. I don't know how much you can see. Let's see. Around the... I can probably barely see it, but this lip of the dog leg is all stitched to that wall, and further on there will be a splash shield that will cover all this. So that's all there. That's solid. Did a couple of extra tacks down here around the side. So she's almost in. Now I'm going to attempt to put this flimsy piece of sheet metal onto this and fix up a little patch right here. So let's see if I can get this done. Okay, so I got everything plug welded in and ground. I fixed that little patch there. Struggled with it a little bit, only on one side because I was burning through that thin old stuff, but that's all patched up now. I put the flashlight up and I can't see daylight through. But this all welded here, and I welded a little bit in here. I'm not going to do anything with the front or on the inside because I think that's going to be part and parcel of this lower inner valance piece. I think this all has going to have to come out anyway. So that's the dog leg pretty much. Let's forge ahead and fix this little seat belt tie down. My beautiful face after all. Okay, well there we have it. I just made a patch for the seat belt retainer along with I cut out the little bracket underneath, welded that from the underside, and then welded this all around. So I think that's pretty much it for this one. Forget how that went. So I'm going to call it for this video, guys. There's obviously lots more to do here. So this was the driver's side dog leg installation. Obviously there's a lot more associated with this. The B-post, the body skin, but I'm going to keep that for a separate video. This is probably plenty long. So there we have it. Besides, I think I need a little break from this bus. I still have a couple of more oil changes I want to do on some of my other cars, and I might have a peek at my 96 F-150. So I'm going to leave it here for now. We will catch you in the next bus video when I progress this B-post and body skin. Thanks for watching, everyone. Catch you later.